All right. Well, last week we had Senator Ben Cardin here. He's pushing for Donald Trump to completely divest or face impeachment. Listen to this.
We don't want impeachment. We don't want a constitutional crisis.
Well, you keep mentioning impeachment. You keep high crimes and misdemeanors.
We want this done before January the 20th. The Constitution's already there. We can't change the Constitution.
So where is he going to take all of this real estate? You can't put real estate like the world over. You just can't throw that into a blind trust. It's very different than those who've come before him because of his wealth, I think, as you'll point out. So what is he supposed to do?
But that's the Constitution. He's got to comply with the Constitution of the United States. This is not something we can say, well, maybe, maybe not. The Constitution's there for a given reason.
And what does it say to do with it? What does it say to do with a real estate empire the world over? Just sell it en masse?
Either sell it or put it in a blind trust. That's been the practice of every president since George Washington.
But trusts have never dealt with multi-trillion-dollar swaths of real estate, right?
Look, the Constitution has served us well. There's a reason why we don't want foreign governments inappropriately influencing our elected public officials. Donald Trump needs to comply with the Constitution.
All right. As we said in the interview, the Constitution really does not say that. That clip didn't make that clear here. But here's one thing the senator's doing, maybe with the best of intentions here, is just the appearance of a conflict of interest would automatically set up a high crime and misdemeanor, which, of course, is the grounds for impeachment. So without even doing anything, just the appearance of that, if Mr. Trump maintained all his business relationships, he'd be on grounds for impeachment. So former Attorney General Michael Mukasey, who knows the Constitution by heart, joins me now. What does it say, sir?
Well, there are two provisions of the Constitution, I guess, that are potentially relevant. There's what's called the Emoluments Clause that says that nobody who holds any office under the United States, which includes the president and everybody else, may accept any title of nobility or gift or emolument from a foreign government without the permission of Congress. So I don't understand him to be receiving emoluments from foreign governments. I don't understand him to be doing business with foreign governments at all.
So there'd have to be proof of a quid pro quo?
No, there wouldn't have to be proof of a quid pro quo. There'd have to be proof of a quid from a foreign government, though.
Giving them something?
Yeah.
All right. What about staying at a Trump hotel while coming to Washington?
They pay for the service, and they pay the same as everybody else. And they pay it to a corporation. Right. I don't understand them to pay it to Donald Trump personally.
The conflict of interest thing, though, by that definition, almost anything President Trump would do, not divesting or putting into a blind trust his assets, would raise eyebrows, right? So if you had to recommend, would you recommend taking any action?
I don't know how his assets are organized, so I'm not in the position of being able to make an intelligent recommendation. I mean, I know there are people who are studying it, who are in the position to make an intelligent
recommendation. Would it be enough to give it to his kids?
I don't know that it would, but we say enough. I mean, the question is whether it's
satisfied so that he could take advantage of that and have the appearance. The Constitution says nothing about the appearance of a conflict of interest. Correct.
It doesn't. And you said before that it automatically raises the possibility. It's not really automatic. I mean, the fact is that
according to the way this law or this legislation is written, it's not going to go anywhere. But just that appearance would be enough to get impeachment going, which is a little weird.
You don't need a law to get impeachment going. Impeachment can be based on whatever Congress says it's based on. It's a political crime.
But this legislation, Ambassador, says if you're in a position that it looks like you could take advantage of something, which is scary, then they could start proceedings against you.
You know, looks like that's that kind of statute.
It's scary.
Is kind of scary. It's kind of ridiculous.
If you had to advise the president-elect then on these matters, not that you'd want to, but what would you tell him?
I'd tell him to have as little to do with it as possible, and have as little involvement as possible. He's going to have plenty to keep his hands full without concerning himself with his business. I doubt that he's going to involve himself in his business, or do any deals himself or through his family.
Even if he's still an executive producer on The Apprentice.
Even if he's still an executive producer on The Apprentice, in order to get royalties, that's a passive kind of income which he's entitled to get.
Yeah, for later on. All right.